All right, what's going on, Michigan? We have a very interesting political scene going on right now in the world, and especially in our state. And I wanted to break a lot of it down for a lot of people that don't really understand what's going on and why it is so important. First off, the Michigan governor's race right now, and this is a turning point not only for Michigan, but it's a turning point for the country. And why is this so important? Well, because the Dems have no idea where to turn for the 24 election. Biden is out, Kamala's a hack, and their picks for 24 were going to be Cuomo, Newsom, and Whitmer. And Cuomo and Newsom can't keep their hands to themselves, so they aren't going to make the cut. And that leaves Whitmer. And if Whitmer wins, she'll be the 24 nominee for president. And that is exactly why we can't let her win. So this governor race isn't just about Michigan, it's about the future of America. So my search for who the governor should be, first and foremost, who can beat Whitmer. And I want to talk through why I chose who I chose and how I got there, and I hope it provides some insight for you. First off, a little bit about my background. I like Trump. There's no surprise about that. I knew from the day that he rode down on that escalator that he was going to be president. I can tell you exactly where I was when it happened. Let me tell you why I liked him. I liked him because I hated DC and he wasn't a DC politician. He had a business sense and he knew what it was going to take to get things done to be the most effective and efficient way possible. The mere fact that there's an establishment in the GOP or even the Democratic Party just absolutely drives me crazy. And we as Americans, we have gotten lazy in our voting and not done our jobs of firing the politicians that represent us. At the same time, I'm like, all right, man, let's just cool down the Twitter rant just a little bit. It's not a good look for Republicans. And at the same time, Republicans are lazy and wussies. We don't take advantage of the power we have when we have it to do anything good for the country. And Trump was a fighter and he fought through the negativity. Even the negativity that he brought on himself to actually get stuff done, and I really appreciate that. And I love the American First movement. I mean, if you ask any red-blooded American if they would rather spend $10 billion than sending their money overseas or have it sent into their hometown to rebuild their roads, their bridges, help the homeless, work on social programs in the schools. I mean, the list can go on and on. I can guarantee you that I don't get up to work every single morning and pay my taxes to have my money sent overseas. I want it right here in West Michigan. I don't want it to leave there if I don't have to. So Michigan really needs to find somebody with the ability to get stuff done like Trump, but let's just say without the attitude of Trump. We need a governor like our sister peninsula of Florida, Ron DeSantis. And who is that going to be? So a quick note on, let's just look at the two candidates that didn't make the cut. Let's just say they had one thing or one person in common that got them rejected off the ballot. And I never got to talk to Perry Johnson, but his ads were a little too creepy on TV. I heard that from a lot of people, all around, like, who is this guy? Why is he so creepy on TV? Craig, I'll talk about him more in a little bit, but he was Whitmer's choice to run. And the reason why is she has the mayor of Detroit in her pocket, and he would have sold out Craig in a heartbeat to her. And I'm sure there's more than one disgruntled police officer that Craig had a run-in with. And his 2A stance, it just, yeah, he was pro-gun, but he was, anti-high-capacity magazines and did not have a good 2A, history voting for, going for him. And at the same time, he was bragging about how many businesses that he shut down following Whitmer's orders during COVID. It was his cops that were blocking, people from viewing the TCF Center during the 2020 election, and it wasn't going to work. So, Rinke, I've never actually got to meet or talk to Rinke, but first off, he's self-funding, which usually isn't the best look for any candidate trying to run. You just don't have the base, right? I mean, when people give, they are they're also getting support, right? You're growing your base. And what I did do though is I talked to numerous people who have done business with Rinke, and guess what? They're all given to Tudor Dixon. None of them are given to Rinke. Just because they didn't like the way he did business. He's just too bulldogish, and he was a car salesman at the end of the day, and they just didn't like it, and they're not going to do it. Kelly, well, let's start here. Ryan Kelly. if you know anyone from Jenison and you knew Kelly growing up, you'll quickly find out they have no clue how he even made it this far. Heck, you'll probably find a few people that, like to party with him probably a little too much. And the Dems are absolutely going to destroy Kelly. Let's be real. I mean, he's an easy punching bag, and no matter how you feel about the January 6th and what actually happened, we all know that it wasn't an insurrection. But Kelly was there on the front steps, and it just doesn't look good. I mean, he's got a bullseye on his back, and he's an easy target. And if anybody watched the debate, the guy couldn't talk without reading his notes. I had conversations with him, and I was less than impressed. I mean, yeah, he's a West Michigan guy, love that, but I mean, I'm sorry. I also have a problem with the fact that he's directing people to his website to help with his legal fees. And I feel bad that he got his house raided, and that's not right. And he was definitely targeted. But sending people to his website to help with his legal fees doesn't fly. All right, and we got Soldano. I like Soldano, I really do. But Whitmer is absolutely going to tear him apart. Right? She knows his hot buttons, and he comes off as having a temper. I mean, he definitely looks the part to be a good governor. But let's face it, he's a chiropractor, and most chiropractors, and I'm sure you've all met some, they tend to have a little bit of attitude, and it's not going to take a lot for Whitmer to push his hot buttons on a debate stage, and he's going to blow a fuse, and it's not going to look good. And we could talk, and I'll get into this more, but she's going to make him look like a masculine macho fool on a debate stage. She's going to know how to push the button. And the same would be with Rinke as well too. I think that could go either way. Kelly, I don't think Kelly has a button to push, so I don't really think that it's there. But Soldano and Rinke, they're going to come off a little just too masculine. They're going to come off too aggressive towards Whitmer, which, yeah, we need to attack Whitmer. This isn't right, but that's kind of my take on Soldano. I like him. I really do. And that being said, I think that Soldano and Tudor are very, very similar. I think they're going to have very similar policies. I think a lot of it is just going to come down to personality when it comes to the end of it. But in the debate, Soldano kept on going after Tudor. Let's kind of get here to Tudor, but in the debate, Soldano took after Tudor constantly, right? He was attacking her, accusing her of being the establishment. No, Tudor's not the establishment. And the reason why I can prove that she wasn't the establishment is the establishment didn't want Tudor in the first place. Every single person in the establishment wanted James Craig. Every single one of them. And until he was pushed out, they were all on board with James Craig. And they pushed hard. Even our former GOP governors, they wanted James Craig. So for Soldano to come out saying she's part of the establishment is a load of crap. He just pissed he didn't get any of the DeVos money that they pledged to her. And I'm sure it doesn't help that Tudor's using the same fundraiser that's helping Peter Meyer. And by the way, fire Meyer, hire Gibbs. But at the end of the day, it doesn't help. But I started at the beginning with her. When I first met Tudor, I liked her. I liked what she had to say. I think she was a little prepped that, she, knowing that I'm an outdoorsman and, faith, family, freedom. And so I think she was a little prepped. So I avoided all of those questions. So I wasn't just being, filled with what I wanted to hear. And I asked some really good questions, I think. And, I left the meeting and I was like, yeah, I like her, but I had a lot of thoughts, and so I went to the drawing board and I started Googling her and her past, and I started watching a lot of her old TV episodes and showing, and I'm like, okay, I got a little bit of idea. And when I left her, I asked her, when I left, I'm like, I just need to know she can fight, right? I mean, we all know that we need to fight against Whitmer and the tyrannical governorship that she has had, and we need to get rid of her. And I'm like, I just don't know if Tudor's got enough fight in her. And I started watching her TV shows. I'm like, okay, this girl can fight. I just didn't see it with her. So we met again. And, I asked her, I said, can you fight? And, and she said, yeah, I can fight. And as I got to know her more and more through those conversations, I realized more and more that it was going to take a woman in order to beat Whitmer, because the way that is going to have to be fought against Whitmer is going to have to be with grace and elegance. And that is exactly the way that Tudor is going to fight. She does fight, and it's exactly the way that she's going to lead the state. And I believe that she will lead the state. So, moving forward, we all love Florida. Like, we love DeSantis. Everybody wants DeSantis as governor. When, Tudor has DeSantis's team running her campaign, right? She does. And they were actually the ones that chose her. She reached out to them. They, went back and forth for a while, and they realized that it was going to take Tudor in order to beat Whitmer. And so she has DeSantis's team behind her, right? So let's, for anyone that remembers a backstory, let's go to, I think it was a 2002 election, 2012, Granholm DeVos, right? 2012, Granholm DeVos election. And DeVos was ahead in the polls. He was winning. He was winning by quite a bit. And his political advisors, told him, you need to be more aggressive. You need to be more aggressive because I love them. And, but you're West Michigan nice. You're West Michigan nice. You're being too nice. You're being too nice. You're not attacking Granholm. You're just being too nice. And he listened to his political advisors in the last debate. He started taking after Granholm a little bit, and he dropped. He dropped, I think, 30 points. He lost almost all the women's vote because he came off, well, you're just attacking women. And it's just not a good perception. And that's exactly what's going to happen if we have anybody other than a woman running against Whitmer. So it doesn't, at this point in time, it doesn't really matter who it is. We need to get rid of Whitmer. We know that. But what we need to focus on is who is going to be the only one that can beat Whitmer. And I truly believe it's Tudor. So that's the breakdown that I have, and that's what I'm here to talk about. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out, and I'd be happy to make an introduction or talk about this more. But I hope this breaks down the Michigan governor's race a little bit more.